Alright everybody, welcome back. I figured it was a great time to cover another one of the vehicles that benefited from the battle rating changes. Now, this one actually did get moved. It is not nearly as egregious as something like, the FAU change, for example, which the FAU is absolutely destroying its battle rating. But yeah, the F-4E is actually in a really good spot now. So, in case you didn't know, previously the F-4E was at 11.0, and with the existing battle ratings before the changes, it wasn't exactly in the best spot. 11.0 got a ton of up tiers to 11.7 and 12.0, and so basically every game you were getting farmed by stuff like, F-16s and MiG-29s if you did get a full up tier, and even if not, you could still fight F-14s, Mirage 2000s, the EJ Kai, yada yada yada. So what exactly has happened here? Well, the F-4E did actually go up in BR, went from 11.0 to 11.3, but the thing is, a lot of the stuff that it was previously facing went up more than that. Now, for example, you can still fight the F-14, but unlike previously where it was 0.7 above you, so you could face a full team of F-14s if you happen to get a full up tier. Now it is at 12.3, a full battle rating above you, so you can only face up to 4 F-14s on the enemy team. Same for the Mirage 2000 or the F-4E EJ Kai. And that assumes that you get a full up tier. The F-4S, which used to be only 1 BR step above you, is now 2 BR steps. So if you get an 11.0, 12.0 game, which does happen fairly often, now the worst thing that you would have to face is, like the F-4S or the MiG-23s, which also got nerfed. Now, Gaijin did go ahead and rebuff the MiG-23s just a little bit. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still, better than on release. But you now have a much, much healthier matchmaker in the F-4E than previously, where you can't fight some of the incredibly powerful stuff like the F-16, for example, that you used to, same for the MiG-29. And even the strong stuff that you used to be able to fight, now, you can see much fewer of them. I've also personally had a much better time with the matchmaker now. It's not constant up tiers anymore. I will say I still had more up tiers overall, but most of those games were actually up to 12.0, and like I said, that meant the worst thing I was fighting were stuff like the F-4S. But you also get some games like this one right here, where I am in a full down tier and I'm fighting stuff like SE-25s and Super Aton darts, and it is surprisingly capable. When it comes to at BR and a little bit above, it has several advantages over many of the other aircraft, and the biggest thing, of course, when you're fighting in a down tier is the fact that you get these AIM-7E2 Sparrows. Whenever you get a 10.3 game, and oftentimes when you get a 10.7 game, you are going to have the best radar missiles in the lobby, and so that means that if you wish to climb, most of the time you're able to do so. Because for example, if an F-8E tries to do BVR with you, all you have to do is pop chaff and his missile is going to die. Meanwhile, assuming that you get, the launch off and it's head on, your missile will ignore his chaff and continue to guide anyways, because you have a CW seeker head. You also get access to 4 decent IR missiles, and just the fact that you get 8 capable missiles makes this very strong at SBR. Now, in an up tier, you do start to have to worry about stuff having better missiles than you. Now, in most of your games that I was getting 12.0 matches. I decided to include a 12.3 right here just because this is the absolute worst case scenario. And that plane I'm blocking right there is an F-14. Now, he does have better radar missiles than me. If we ignore the fact that he has the Phoenix, then he also has the AIM-7F, which is just flat out better than the E2. Starts pulling off the rail faster, has much better range, but we are still able to get him. Whenever I get an up tier, I would highly recommend staying low, trying to use your terrain, trying to use the multipath whenever possible, because the stuff you're fighting will have pulse Doppler. In addition to be able to more easily defend yourself, this also means that you will always be able to lock onto them, because the F-4E does not have a pulse Doppler radar, so you're going to need to make sure you don't have the ground behind them. And you will still run into plenty of stuff that don't have radar missiles, like this J-35XS right here, or even RWR in this case, that the E2 will still be capable of killing. It's not like at top tier where the E2 and Skyflash is just absolutely horrendous. It's still a capable missile, it's just that it does get just cleared by the AIM-7F. If you are in this full up tier match, then of course some of the F-14 is going to be able to rinse you in a dogfight, but most of the stuff that you're fighting are going to be stuff like the F-4S, like I mentioned earlier. And if we completely ignore the fact that the F-4S players are usually terrible, and so you can usually relatively easily kill them, the F-4E is also going to win the dogfight against the F-4S most of the time, just because it has, an internal gun. The F-4S has to bring a gun pod if it wants to actually use this gun, which it really hinders it. If you force it low and make sure that they can't really use their radar missiles as effectively as they like, you can always push it closer, and then once you get into that dogfight, the F-4E is able to shine against the F-4S. There's also the fact that you do get more countermeasures at 90 than the F-4S, which really does help it whenever you're getting swarmed. And Gaijin gave us a nice little bonus this update where they buffed them. So you still have the same maximum amount of countermeasures, 90 as previously, but now, unlike before, 30 of those countermeasures are large caliber. And if you didn't know, large caliber flares are much better than normal ones. They heat up hotter, they last for longer, and basically every time they're dropped, they decoy non-IRCCM missiles, which is the majority of what you're fighting. These large caliber ones can even, panic flare an AIM-9L or your aspect. There's been a ton of times when I've had people in the Mi-23, for example, that will just drop flares at the last second my AIM-9L is about to hit them, and it will still manage to flare them just because of how much hotter it is. And now the F-4E gets that. So overall, you've got yourself a fun little plane that is decent in the dogfight against most of the stuff that you're fighting. This leaves the F-4E, and especially the Israeli one that I'm playing right here, because it's just flat out better than the American one of the same BR, in a really good spot where you have a vehicle which is competent in the dogfight against most of the stuff that it sees, while actually having more flares than most of the stuff it sees, in a decent kit, and now a much better matchmaker than it had previously as well. It even gets a digital RWR for crying out loud, which is a massive benefit with how more radar focus everything has gotten as of late. If you're looking for a high rank jet to play right about now, personally I would highly recommend this because it's close enough to top tier that you still get that missile combat without having the absolutely terrible gameplay that actual top tier is giving you right now. And it also has the side benefit of being very capable in ground RB as well, because Gaijin did not move this thing up in ground. It is still sitting at 11.0, and for both the US and Israel, this leaves it in a very good spot. More so with the US. The Israeli one is definitely better for air. For ground, though, I very much prefer the US one. The planes are identical when it comes to their ground RB performance. It's just that the American 11.0 tank lineup is absolutely cracked, and I cannot stress this enough. I'll probably make a ground RB video on that at some point if y'all would like to see that as well, but I just absolutely adore that M1A1 lineup. As for casts, though, you get a very good kit for 11.0. You get access to the normal 6 Mavericks, but you also get access to 2 Hobos or Walleyes as well when it comes to your guided weaponry. This means that assuming everything works, you are going to get 8 kills, with guided ordnance in a normal tank RB match. And you can still bring your 4 Sparrows as well, in addition to that, to kill any high flyers in the match. Your digital RWR will let you know about any SAMs that spawn up, and you are well below the battle rating of the really good top tier SAMs like stuff like the SE25 SM. Assuming you don't get up tiered, you also can't face the really good top SAMs as well, and it's just in a really great spot overall. Honestly, I'd probably say this thing is better in CAF than it even is in Air RB. And there is potential for future upgrades as well, depending on what Gaijin decides to do, because it did get access to laser guided bombs and the targeting pod that you see on the current S2000s, but knowing Gaijin, they're probably going to leave that as an exclusive. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future in the comments down below. And remember, I do have a decal now as well, so if you're looking to get a discount or just want to rock that nice little decal you've been seeing on my plane, feel free to hit it. I also have a Discord in the description, and I'll catch y'all next time. So, peace, y'all.